The signal has not failed in over 7 years for Bitcoin, which means that it will certainly not fail ever again. No, of course not. However, in today's video, we'll be going over that as a guidance for the higher term timeframes and also following up on some of those higher term timeframe setups. And then we'll loop back into the very, very low term timeframes to go over some low term timeframe ranges. But without further ado, let's start it off over here with a revisiting of the daily statistics represented by the historical price action statistics indicator. As you can see, Monday and actually Friday are the two most likely days for Bitcoin to be closing green since this bull market began in January of 2023. And what's interesting about Monday is that it does have one of the highest, in fact, the second highest positive returns for those positive closing Mondays at 2 or just over 2.5%, I should say. And of course, when Monday is a loser, which does happen 45.86% of the time, it has lost an average of 1.94%. As always, we're very much interested in the ranges coming off the backs of these average gains and average losses. And to the upside, that would give us kind of a boundary at about 120,300, and to the downside, that would give us a boundary at about $115,000, meaning that as long as Bitcoin is between these two major numbers, really nothing significant has happened for the long term. But Bitcoin could play around. It is getting a little more volatile as it does hang around about 119,000 bucks. And again, just because Monday is one of the most likely days to close positively, it is not 100% probability. It is just over 54.14%. So at the end of the day, I kind of expect Bitcoin to just stay within this overall range. If anything, more than likely to try towards the upper boundary of that. In fact, you could kind of even read this morning's rally towards 120,000 bucks as exactly that. But it's a long day left to go. Another 8 hours, 10 minutes, and 47 seconds and counting. So let's get into the title, the good old clickbait title of this day, which is the signal that has not failed in over 7 years here. And for this, I'm going to be pulling up the bi-weekly time frame on the HPDR indicator, and we just got a new bi-weekly open and something, or we do have something significant right here. So let me explain what this sort of setup is, and then you be the judge for yourself if this is relevant or not. But as always, setups are valuable not because they give you a certainty about something, but because they give you objective areas of defining whether it's going to work out or not. Holy shit, that's crazy. I mean, you can't actually literally tell the precise future with a crystal ball. Well, some can, but I cannot. And in this case, the setup that I'm referring to is, again, a relatively simple setup here. Whenever the bi-weekly time frame has reclaimed the median on the HPDR, which is what this white line that my cursor is currently tracing is, for the first time after being below it, well, Bitcoin has gotten a free ride up to, at minimum, the top side of the 38.2 levels you see right here, and in many cases even higher than that. So I'll show you the last 7 years or so. You can see this iteration right here reclaims it. Boom, nice move up in the following couple periods, which really realistically took about 4 weeks to get it to its final destination. We got the same thing going on over here from November of 2023, leading into a pretty mega rally. Bitcoin rides it the whole way through, as you can see, and finds that high actually significantly later, like 6 months, or sorry, 3 to 4 months later. Moving on from there, we saw this one from February of 2023, same thing. Closes above, reclaims, boom, nice move up to that 38.2 level, and then nice little consolidation. And if we go back further than that, we can see the prior cycle high actually coming off the back of this particular setup in August of 2021. Boom, reclaims it, and all the way up. Very, very nice, very, very powerful. And we see another iteration over here from October 2020. Same thing. Do I really need to go back further? Well, of course, probably should go back further because realistically, there has been failures, and just to give you an idea of what the last failure looked like, it would be right here. Bitcoin reclaims and closes back below that median. Yes, the rally does continue upwards and onwards, and in hindsight, this would have been an absolutely massively very nice place to be buying. But yeah, if you do want to take the signal at face value, that would be it. And the reason why I'm bringing it up right now is because it's just another thing coming from another completely different angle in combination with all the other steps that we do have that does suggest that upside from here is still more likely than not. Again, not a certainty, but it does give us two major areas of interest, one for failure and one for at least the minimum success. For on the failure side, Bitcoin would have to close below that same median, which currently is at 115,150. That number 115 also popping up over here on the daily price action statistics indicator. So we can look at that as a nice line in the sand for the Bitcoin BULAs, as long as Bitcoin is above there. Ball still in the BULAs court, but second that we start to see Bitcoin close below there, especially on a higher term time frame like this, well, that would be a failure condition, and the rest of it is just not relevant. Now, of course, for all of those signals over the past 7 years, the minimum target was a 38.2 level, which as of right now is about 146,000 and a half. 100, that's like so fucking hard to say, or maybe I'm just redacted, but $146,500,000. No, $146,500. Yes, okay. I am a redact. I also have dyslexia, and I can barely even read numbers. Holy shit. Thank God for trading and investing, because I don't think I'd have a place anywhere else in this world. Anyways, yes, so that's that. Again, just a new one that we'll continue to follow up on here. And see how this one evolves over time. Of course, as we get new bi-weekly opens and closures, this range will naturally move around. Might go a little bit higher, might go a little bit lower. I mean, in this case, it's likely to go a little bit higher, but we'll continue to follow that up, just to see where these targets do come in around. Now, following up on the 5-day setup that we've been looking at for about a month now, when it fired off on, I believe, the 20th of June. Yeah, so literally just about a month ago. Again, a very, very simple setup here, but does work in combination with that last setup that we just looked at. And again, if you're not familiar with this, it's a super, super simplistic one. Yes, you could probably find many ways to optimize this. Obviously, we're using the Quant Prime service here to also backtest this, which I'll show you in a moment. But to explain the setup, it is simply this. Bitcoin closing a 5-day period above that red moving average, which is a 5 EMA, opens a long position. When Bitcoin closes below, it closes. It closes that position. You're probably, the wheels in your head are probably already turning with ways to optimize this if you are not redacted. But if you are, and you just want to look at it in exactly that way, over the past 10 years, if you would have done it exactly like that, these would have been your results. And again, this is a strategy that is basically designed to be finding those nice, big, trending breakout moves. And then when Bitcoin goes into sideways consolidations, it just kind of chops around, small gains, small losses, you can see right here for long periods of time. But because it does have such a nice edge, it is a very nice equity curve over the past 10 years, given a 4.345 profit factor. And of course, like I said, this one already fired off at $106,000. Bitcoin traded up, $15,000 from that number or close to that. And if we go back into it, we can look at the trade analysis and we can see that the average winning trade has returned about 37.5%. Again, this is an average. Averages are not exactly precise. Like, it might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less. I am specifically speaking probably unnecessarily to the redacts of this channel, to the highly intelligent, probably much more intelligent people than me on this channel. You already understand these sort of things. There is variance in these numbers, obviously, but because this one has already gone over the average amount of bars in losing trades, this is clearly going to be a much higher probability to be a winner. So we could look towards those numbers as perhaps more relevant in this case. And again, the average amount of bars in winning trades is about 10. So let's see what that would look like, again, in terms of timing and in terms of price action. In terms of timing, obviously that would put us about 50 days out from that. So that puts us into kind of the early mid portion of August. And in terms of price, well, what would 37.5% look like to the upside? Oh, what do you know? $145,000? That's fucking crazy. Wait, was that the same number that we saw over here? Yes. Actually, it was, or very, very close to it. Again, just showing multiple different setups from completely different angles, completely different angles, agreeing with each other. Confluence, typically a good thing. And again, coming up with the timing for this, mid, early August, understanding that, yes, there may indeed be some variance in this. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less, might be a lot more, might be a lot less. Sometimes you get some outliers. That's what they are. Anyways, moving on from there and getting my notes out. I forgot my notes. Let's go over some more of the bi-weekly time frame signals that we were looking at throughout last week, because we were seeing that time frame close relatively recently, and we can see that the MACD signal obviously did continue up here. Yes, this is super aggressive, and this is sort of, in my opinion, end of market type stuff, but this can still go on for another few months, I suspect. I'm still looking for this market at earliest, like super earliest, to top. I guess between like the very end of this month and very end of September, but I think that that's a little bit less likely. I think that this one likely pushes into at least September and maybe like a month or two out from there. Who knows? But in terms of timing, still don't think that it's right to be looking for highs just yet. At least I don't have like those super bearish signals on the board as it stands. So moving on from there, Elsa's breaking into the room. Get the hell out. Get the fuck out. Like, seriously. Hey. It's not a laughing matter. Like, seriously, you're not allowed in here. No girls allowed, okay? If you're a girl watching this, turn it off, all right? You're not allowed. You're not welcome. And go find some other channel. I'm kidding, okay? Girls are very welcome here. I'm just shy, or we're all shy. I mean, we're all fucking nerds, so, like, just trying to act cool, all right? Just trying to get some, Anyways, what? Anyways, bi-weekly time frame, yeah, continues up here. MACD continues rising above 111,000, so that one's still going up. Yes, there's going to be some divergence here at some point for sure, but it is increasing still in momentum, so it's not super concerning until that that sort of lighter color turns to a darker one like you see over here. That's when, you know, we're probably extremely close to the next major high, maybe even the macro high. This, of course, is coming in combination with extreme lows of volatility now raising up, so, you know, this move is this move is underway. And also, you know, kind of at least a comforting fact, I think, for the Bulas here is that, you know, is this market likely to top when volatility is this low on a time frame like this? No, it's probably going to get at least somewhere around here into the 70s, comparable to the last few highs that we've seen during this current market cycle. So, you know, just kind of eyeballing it, like late September perhaps, starts to make a lot of sense to me. Maybe that bleeds into October, but, you know, don't think that things are primed for too much longer from there, if that. On top of that, we also did see the bi-weekly stochastic momentum continue up here as well. But again, really high up there, similar to the last few highs that we have seen from April and then again in January. Now, it will continue up here as long as Bitcoin's above 118,600, but you'll notice that that's an extremely proximal price to current price. So what does that tell you? I mean, it tells you that Bitcoin, I mean, like if you're bullish, like it kind of must continue from here. You know, we don't really expect a pullback, especially not below 115,000 bucks. I mean, shit, even going back to this 5-day time frame over here, like remember this one closes, if Bitcoin closed below the red moving average, and that's 115,500. So, you know, what is that telling you? It's telling you that things basically continue from here without any sort of deeper pullback. If it is bullish. Now, if you do get a deeper pullback, then, you know, I think that you expect, or you kind of have to expect a much more prolonged consolidation. You know, maybe this takes another month or two, something like that. I mean, that's kind of par for the course with Bitcoin. But yeah, going back into it, let's now go into some lower term timeframes. We'll also look at some quantum wave bounds action as well. But lower term timeframes, just going over the ranges. It's pretty simplistic here. Looking at the price action pivots, we can see that Sunday's low effectively is going to be the low side of the range. I think that you could even use last Tuesday's low at about 115,700. And of course, the most obvious area would be last Friday's high as a range high here. Maybe CME shows this one perhaps a little bit better. Let's just check on it right here, and perhaps it'll load at a faster time. Let's see. Come on, show me the money. Yeah, showing the top side of the range right there. And yeah, it's actually looking at last month, or is this Monday? Yeah, this is this Monday. Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Yeah, either of those pretty much works, in my opinion. You know, if we're looking at 4-hour time frame, advanced stochastic is giving an upside signal here, supported by DMI. So, I mean, that is good, above 117,200. But realistically, I don't think that any of this really matters as long as, again, Bitcoin is between these two ranges. Still, I would probably go for the lower of these on CME 116, on spot like 115,500, and then basically last Friday's high for an upside bracket. If you see Bitcoin trade above last Friday's high, you know, I think that you're just seeing that general next expansion phase. There's going to be stops along the way, obviously, but, you know, final destination probably in the 140s. Again, maybe a little bit lower, maybe a little bit higher, but anywhere around there seems good to me. Seems quite good to me. Anyways, yes, moving on to some quantum wave band action. Just keeping you updated with this one. As always, like to be transparent with these sort of more done for you scripts, and we can see that you know, it's taken a couple of nice modest wins, taken a nice modest loss here as well. But since we last updated, actually did struggle here on the nice downside move from last Tuesday. I think we already covered that one though, after having a pretty good week before that, actually 4 big wins in a row, 5 actually. Then took another little loss right there, boom, and then gains it back right there. And actually already back in a long trade, did along the low of today at 118. We'll see how that one goes. I mean, I'm not a humongous fan of that one as of right now, but Bitcoin probably trades its way sideways and up, I guess, if this one's going to work out. So we shall see. We shall see indeed. Anyways, yeah, I think that pretty much takes care of it for this video. Again, if you want to check out any one of these scripts, any one of these indicators, you can check them out in general for free for 7 days for any new user. Not for old users, go fuck off. But for new users, you certainly can. Just by following the Teachable link in the description below, and yeah, you'll figure it out from there. Anyways, as always, I'd like to wish everyone the best. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully next time.